Stampers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the third card that I'm making with this super cute bundle called Gathering Moments. This is a Funfold, and there's the inside. How cute is that? So this is the stamp set we're using called Gathering Moments. Has some really nice sentiments in it and some really cute stamps. And it also has dies that coordinate with the stamp set. You can cut out the leaves and cut out these big leaves, which I showed in a different video. And we're also using the party banner dies, which I've had a lot of fun with making banners, but I thought I would pull it into a card and see what it looked like. So that's what we got. So let's start first of all with cutting out the Funfold background. And to do that, I'm going to need a piece of early espresso cardstock. This is 4 1/4 by 11 and is scored at 5 1/2. And you want to take your bone folder and give it a really nice sharp edge so that when you cut it out, it will lie pretty flat. So there we go. And I'm going to pull in my cutting and embossing machine, which I might have to zoom out a little bit to do this. There we go. And I'm going to put this on here. And so I'm taking this die. It's actually the 4th die in on the party banner dies. And there's just going to be a little bit of space up here at the top. Sort of hard to see, but there's just a tiny space. It's just hanging over the edge. And this die just perfectly fits a card, so you have to be pretty careful with it. But there we go. So there's just like about a 1/16 of an inch at the top. And I'm going to pull it through. Move my tea so I don't spill it. That would be exciting. All right, so there I've got the card base, an early espresso there, and I'm going to cut out the inside of the card, which is the next size down because these are layering dies. And I'm going to cut that out of basic beige, which is really pretty with the early espresso. And we actually are going to need 2 of those. So let me do that real fast. And we're going to have more things to cut out too, but I think we'll come back to that. I did want to show you, see how this edge is all torn up? That means you need to change a blade on your cutting, on your paper cutter, which I just did. And then you won't get those wispy edges. All right, so I can get this out of the way for now, but I'll have to come back to cut my leaves out with it. So I'll just set it over there and pull this one out. All right, so let's get to stamping, which is the fun part. I always want to put my dies back on my magnetic sheets because otherwise I lose them and then spend hours looking for them. All right, so this is the card base now, and we're going to stamp 2 of these. So I always want to start with my biggest stamp first when you do this collage style stamping. And we're going to be using Cajun Craze for that, big one. And I'm going to put something behind because I plan to stamp off the paper and I don't want it to go on my background. So, Cajun Craze. And we're going to ink it up. Now, if you want, you can test it on a piece of white scrap. And actually, I'm going to test it anyway because I need to cut one out there anyway. So, yeah, so sometimes these stamps just need a second try to get really pretty. So there, that looks good. This one was just a little bit not inked up enough. All right, so I'm glad I did that. And we're just gonna start. You wanna either do multiples of 3 or 5. So since this is so big, I'm going to aim for 3 of these. 1, 2, and 3. And then on the inside, I think I just put 1 of each. So let me just do that. This will go on the inside. So that one is done. We can close up the Cajun Craze, and then the next size will be the green leaf, which we'll use this one for, and that's in Old Olive. So Old Olive, open it up, and we're going to do 3 of those. In Old Olive, and you kind of want to rotate the leaves so they aren't all going the same direction. I think I'll take this one off the edge. We'll put 1 on the inside, which I did it over there on that one, but I'm going to do it over here because I didn't leave enough space. And I'm just going to do 1 on my white. Zoom in a little, you have to see my big mess up there. And that's the Old Olive. And now my favorite stamp here is this little acorn, so cute. And we're gonna do 5 of those because it's little, and I'm using pecan pie. So we're just looking for white spaces. 1, 2, 3. Could almost get away with 3 on this one, but I'm gonna cram 2 more on. 4, and I think I'll put 1 right there. 5. And I'm going to put this one over here. And since I can't really see it, I think I want to do another one. I'm going to do 3 of those. There we go. And I'm going to have to get a new scrap. We'll do 1 on my white scrap. All right, so there's that. I went ahead and cut a circle out, and that was using the Stylish Shape dies, which I use almost on every card. Makes for really cute elements. And I already cut that out, so we'll stamp that in a second. In fact, we're going to do it right now. We're going to use Early Espresso for the sentiment. And this one's going to say thankful for you, which fits really nicely in that circle. And I do just want to test that one first, and that looks good. Thankful for you. Good. And I'm going to leave that out. The next I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this open for now. I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to do Basic Beige, and I'm going to use this cute little hashtag, hash whatever stamp. And it seems really dark, but it lightens up. In fact, you can see how light it'll get. And we're just using that to kind of fill in spaces. Let me move this. Look what I just did. All right, I'll fix that. Right there. Maybe a little over here. And some more there. All right, that looks pretty good to me. And this one, I'm going to do it here. Since I put some ink there already, I think I'll just do that. Okay, a little bit there. All right, that looks good. And then the last thing we're going to do is take the Early Espresso again and do these little, I don't know what you call it. And you do want to rotate it, not do it all the same direction. I'll put a little there. And I didn't put it on this one, but I think I want to try it on this one. And then we're going to do this one. And there. Maybe a little there. I want some up there, I think. There we go. All right, we're going to do a little bit right there. All right, I like that. So now the last, there's two things left to do. We're gonna have to cut out these leaves. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Move this, bring back in my cutting and embossing machine. Let me zoom in a little. And I think I covered up my leaves. Grab those. And I'm gonna put them on, and there are dies for these, which is kind of funny. At my stamp club, one of the ladies didn't realize it, and so she was cutting them all out by hand, and I didn't even notice until she was all the way done, and I'm like, oh, sorry about that. But honestly, it's kind of fun just to cut shapes out too, but this cuts them out so perfectly, gives you the perfect amount of white space around each shape, and makes it super easy. There's the other one. For the, I'm gonna call it a maple leaf. Who knows what it really is? It's probably not a maple leaf. The bigger leaf, how about that? Okay, oh, that one got knocked a little. Now this I'm doing in basic white, whisper white, I can't remember what it's called, the white paper. But if you notice, the card itself was done in basic beige, so but it kind of gives it a little pop, and it makes these shapes stand out a little bit, I think. So I like how it looks, so that's why I did that. It was intentional. Putting those back on my magnet so I can find them again. Otherwise, they just seem to disappear. There's nothing more frustrating than losing one of your dies, and of course it's the one you want for your next card, and looking all over your house and having fit. So, all right, so here now we are doing the final moments of this card. And for that, I'm going to use my Tombow, my favorite glue. And I'm going to put it on the edge, not too close to the edge. I am about maybe 1/3 of an inch in, because when you smash this card down, that glue smushes out, and you don't want it to smush out around the edges. Make sure the fold's going the right way. Of course, there's no other way it could go on this one, so of course it's going the right way. And let me zoom in a little. I'll put the inside in, and then we'll finish the outside. So I really like how this card turned out. A little more ink there. Glue, I mean, ink. And you know, when you're making these cards, I always mass produce them, so I might make 4 at a time or something. See there, look, it oozed out, like I said. Obviously got too close over there. And I'm going to put this, well, I'm going to put it up on a dimensional, but before I do that, I'm going to kind of figure out where I want these. So I think I want them over a little more. Okay, so I want to glue this one down first, because I'm going to put the sentiment up on a dimensional. So I want to figure out where these leaves are going to go first. That one's going to go there. Give it a press. The green one will go next to it. Sorry, there's glue on there, see? Glue. Right like that. Grab some dimensionals. Probably put 3 on. which will give it a nice support, not be wobbly. 2 wouldn't work. 4 is probably too many for this shape, so thankful for you. Now, dimensional's not forgiving, so you got to make sure you got that in the right place before you glue it down. And I'm going to put this, I'm going to put 1 more dimensional behind the acorn. Otherwise, it'll just be flopping around in the breeze. And that's not a good thing. And I'm also going to take a glue dot and put it on the stem so that it holds on to the circle. All right, so I'm going to put that right there. And then I already made these cute little bows, which I also want to glue dot for, so I'm going to get them back down again. So when you're using the glue dots, you want to press whatever you're putting onto the glue dot. Don't pull it off with your finger or something, because then you'll get, like, you know, finger oils on it, and you don't want to do that. So there we go. The card is done. How cute is that? Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, leave me an encouraging comment, and have a great day.